Welcome to this episode of Who Gives a Vote, where we discuss all things politics and some other things along the way. All the views expressed in this podcast are personal views and do not reflect the views of any organisation or entity that the participants may be involved with. So let's get started. Well, welcome to this episode of I was going to say Future Champions podcast. It's a different podcast altogether. It's Who Gives a Vote, and we have Jazara and Carly. Sotera was going to be joining us, but she's been caught up at work, and she's a late scratching. So hopefully I'll see her jump online and ask a few questions as we go. Some great topics. Carly, how are you feeling about the week? It has been a hectic week in federal politics.
Politics, yeah. It's been a bit cray-cray.
We've actually been talking a lot about federal politics, and I wanted to sort of
take a break from that.
Yeah, and talk about some really cool stuff.
We'll wait till there's a proper spill first.
Yeah, that's right. We are going to briefly talk about Barnaby Joyce at the end. I don't know whether that's federal politics or just insanity, but I'm showing my bias there. Jazara, thank you for joining us tonight. I might just get you to move your mic up a little bit this way for me. There we go.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, you're actually an expert. You've done a few podcasts with me.
Just a couple. And
you were on the first the lives that we.
I was.
And what did you learn about the live last time we did it?
I wasn't aware that it was live.
So you are aware now. Yep. Mm-hmm. Awesome. We are going to talk about some great topics tonight. Well, for me, they're great because I do like looking at bills because they are basically looking forward to what legislation might change, particularly in the state government. There is some state government changes in relation to a really interesting bill that was presented last year but is now coming back to Parliament after it's been through committee and some discussions, recommendations have been made. And that's the Sports Facility and Other Legislation Amendment Bill, which to me is a little bit deceiving because it doesn't actually have much to do with sports facilities. It's got more to do with concerts, live concerts and venues and events and major events, which Jazara, you've been to a few.
I have been to a few.
Yeah, so we'll get into that because I'm looking forward to having this discussion. Out of all the topics we're going to talk about tonight, which is the Sports Facilities and Other Legislation Amendment Bill, we're going to talk about Tones and I coming to Maryborough or the Fraser Coast, and we're going to talk about Barnaby Joyce. Which one of those is the topic you're looking most forward to talking about?
Oh, goodness. I probably have to say sports facilities and legislation.
Yep, and for the sake of making it easy for us, I'm going to call it Live Concerts Bill.
Okay.
Is that all right?
All right.
That sounds good.
The Live Concerts Bill, because people would then, if they need help coming up with good titles, they should
call you.
Yeah, just ask me because that's what it's about. It's about live concerts, which is an important part of the economy. For any economy, events are really important. Which one is your favourite?
I will hold up and look. I don't know what it says about me, but I'll hold up the Barnaby Joyce section a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to go in the live concerts.
I'm
usually dropping kids to them, not attending them.
Yeah, well, I think
this would affect your pickup time.
Mm. Yeah, that's right.
I have to be later. Well, I'm against it. Straight up.
I think your husband might have a view on it. He does like a good concert, doesn't he, Lincoln?
He does. He has seen quite a few concerts and festivals in his time. So, yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's get into the Sports Facility and Other Legislation Amendments Bill 2025, otherwise named by Stuart Taylor as the Live Concerts Bill. Oh. So I just want to give you a bit of a background on this, and I'll give you a few minutes just to talk through it. And that is that the bill basically talks about a couple of really important parts. It takes away the binding. So at the moment, events are covered under the Liquor Licensing Act, and it's going to remove it from that. It's going to make it a compliance-driven, not a regulatory-driven piece of legislation as opposed to a compliance-driven. So effectively what that means is that when you're talking about noise, from what I understand reading the bill, is liquor licensing, because it was under liquor licensing and there was noise, there would be a time frame, so it has to cut off at, say, 10 o'clock, but also that had to reach a certain decibel. So liquor licensing could effectively go out and use a decibel reader and determine whether or not the concert was too loud. Effectively what this is saying is because they're major events, we're just going to regulate it, saying it is under the decibel reading just because it's a concert defined by law. So you can't argue with that anymore. It's not a compliance thing, which if you were living next door might be an issue. But effectively what it's doing is it's looking at curfews, it's looking at the cost of tickets or reselling of tickets, and it's looking at the framework about connecting it to the bills. So the actual explanatory notes, and I'll read them, the standard industry practice for concerts is 10:30 p.m. finish, which accommodates sporting acts that maximise ticket sales and revenue. The existing liquor licensing noise conditions after 10 p.m. at Carrara Stadium, People's First Stadium and Robina Stadium, Seabus stadiums, which sets them for 10 p.m, are effectively impossible to meet with amplified music. So it poses an ongoing barrier for attracting and hosting concerts at these venues. Liquor licensing also positions licensees as responsible for any breaches in licence noise conditions. However, these breaches are effectively beyond their control, given they are not event organisers nor stadium operators. So effectively what the explanatory notes are trying to justify is we're going to make it harder for people to determine compliance because we want these concerts and they're important. So it's harder for people, I guess, to complain. It's harder to comply with because it's regulatory based.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you, Carly?
As much sense as it's going to make in this podcast.
Yep. So what that now means is that it's effectively changing the times from 10 p.m. in those stadiums we talked about to 10:30. So Jazara, from your point of view, how much of a difference would it make to a concert for people who go to concerts to have a change from 10 to 10:30? Is an extra half hour significant?
I would say that it's definitely significant. I know that, like, on paper, you think 30 minutes, that's really not much. But if you think about it, that's an extra 30 minutes of, like, alcohol being distributed. That's an extra 30 minutes of the noise bleed. So just because the concert finishes doesn't mean that all the noise that all the people are making is going to finish. So it extends it for another half hour. It extends public transport more and more later into the night. And at a concert, those 30 minutes are quite long. Not so much for the concert goers, but I would imagine for everyone else around. I know River Stage. Is it only involving stadiums? Do you know?
So it covers stadiums, but my assumption will be like River Stage will then become part of this. It's not at the moment. Yeah,
so venues like River Stage that are right next to a university, that could make a hell of a difference for university students.
But Suncorp Stadium is right around local houses.
That's true.
So Carrara Stadium is next to houses. Robina Stadium's next to a train station. And
it's a little bit more secluded.
It's a little bit out of the way. But I guess it's also the case that most concerts don't start till way after 6 o'clock.
And they often run very late.
And a lot of that's got to do with the fact that people finish work at 5 o'clock. They've got to get ready. They've got to get into town, or they've got to go to where they're going. So it can be quite problematic to start a concert, to have an opening act, and then to have the live concert.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you've got to account for delays as well, because the amount of concerts that I've been to where there have been massive delays in the setup and the sound testing and whatnot, or medical delays where we've had people pass out in the pit and then it's had to be held off for another half an hour.
Or drama queen delays with superstars.
Yes, they do occur as well.
And you do know, like, people say there's an argument, well, why don't you get rid of the undercard, the what do they call them again? The
Support Act.
Support Act. That's what I'm thinking of UFC. The undercard. The Support Act. There's a lot of saying people, if you get rid of the supporting act, then you can have the concert start earlier. But there's two things about that, and the first is that it provides an opportunity for local artists.
Local artists, yes. Yep. That's a big thing.
Yeah. But the real reason why they have support acts is because it takes about an hour and a half for a sound technician to get the sound right. So they're and you see it when a support act is working. They turn the sound up, they turn it down. They're there they're almost like a
They're there
sacrificial
to,
lamb.
yeah, test the waters.
Yeah, and which is so you get to hear a support act, but you make sure that the concert you've come to see, and a lot of people will arrive at 8 o'clock to watch a concert. So 2 hours is not a lot of time, is it?
No.
So 2.5 hours is pretty good. So do you agree that that's a good change from 10 to 10:30 for the likes of Carrara?
For the likes of Carrara, yeah. I mean, it's quite reasonably densely populated around Carrara Stadium, but I don't know if I used to live near Carrara Stadium, only a few kilometres down the road. 10 to 10:30 wouldn't really bother me as a citizen living nearby.
Well, I also think that we do stay up later now.
Oh, we
I
definitely
try not
do.
to.
Yeah. You don't. So 10:30 would be the maximum, not 11 o'clock. I just thought it would be 11 would be
No,
better.
I just sleep through it.
You'd sleep through it?
Yeah.
You'd be all right. Yeah. I do note that I was looking at this during their recent, well, it wasn't their recent tour, it was a tour before their recent tour, but during their recent tour, they Coldplay did mention a time when they received a noise complaint from a show they did at Suncorp in 2016. And Chris Martin said that the complaint was that the music was too noisy and also not very good. And I think Chris Martin took more exception to the not very good, the fact that he raised it again another 2 years. So people do complain.
Stuck in his memory.
Yeah.
But Lincoln would have to agree with the complainee on that department.
We went to a Coldplay concert.
We did. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and
I don't mind them. They're okay, but
they're amazing.
Lincoln, not a fan.
So this whole room is a Coldplay song. Did you know that?
The artwork.
No, well, it's to represent.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No, I had no idea.
The champion of the world.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
rode my rocket ship reversed. I'm riding
rocket.
through the universe like I'm
Right.
a champion of the world. And that's what it's dedicated. This room is dedicated, which is dedicated to the memory of my puppy dog, Canelo, and then his little brother that is not actually related, but I'll call him his little brother, Rocket. So, yeah, Coldplay is a great memory and a great concert, wasn't it?
It was fantastic.
Finished a bit early, though, didn't it?
Just a tad.
It just got rushed. It should have gone to 11, I think.
Well, they need to make it from
Yeah.
10:30 to 11 next, then, won't they?
So in order to get that legislation or to get it to fit into the legislative framework and to get it out of the compliance section, the state government has effectively taken it out of liquor licensing, put it in its own events category, and then said it's not a compliance matter, it's a regulatory matter. And in effect, that if you tick that you do this, then it complies, and we don't need to. We can just assume that that's the way it is. So.
Does that reduce the resources they need to put into policing things as well?
I wouldn't say it reduces the policing.
I mean, I don't actually mean actual police, but just mean
the compliance part of it.
Yeah.
Well, it reduces the ability for people to make a complaint. So they're preempting the fact that they're going to move it from 10 to 10:30, and they're probably going to increase complaints. And that complaining is not going to go to liquor licensing anymore. It'll go to the either
Shuffled somewhere else.
It'll probably go to the minister, maybe.
Lucky them.
Yeah, or the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. One of those, I think that's where it goes. So that's, I can see some issues with that, but all in all, a good plan, good move.
As a concert goer, I'm happy about it.
Yeah. So the other
Well,
part...
you think about how many extra songs that is,
I
a half
know.
hour.
Yeah, so the other part is the resale of tickets also in this bill. And it's basically increasing the penalties. So the penalty is already there for the resale of tickets at major sports facilities and events. And so you can't... So the first limit of that is that you can't sell at the event or within a certain distance or in prescribed places like the mall or in Brisbane. So there are now offences for selling tickets, scalping as we call it, or selling or offering tickets at more than 10% above the original sale price. So that's effectively, if you sell a ticket above 10%, you're committing an offence in Queensland. Good call.
I think that's a good call. I think ticket prices being sold for way more than what they were bought for is a big issue, especially at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. My question is, and we've used Tixel, Tixel, which is a website for
Buy and
resale.
sell.
Yeah, you can resell. They already have that 10% framework within their system, so you can't sell a ticket for more than 10% of the ticket price.
Yep.
Is this a case of the industry is already monitoring it, and there's not really a need anymore for for those predatory pricing legislation, or do you see examples of?
I still see a lot of it, and especially as you get closer to the date of the show and people start getting desperate, so they'll do anything, they'll pay anything for a ticket, and it's ridiculous the amount that they'll get for it.
Yeah. So they're now committing an offence. The interesting part is that the other part of that is that they have removed an offence, which is it's no longer an offence to buy a scalp ticket in those locations, and it's no longer an offence to buy a scalp ticket that's 10% above. So now they're really putting the pressure. They've increased the penalties.
So the buyers can then dob on the sellers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So so the offence, I guess they're increasing the penalty for the seller who's doing it, and it also addresses the issue is if I'm buying a ticket, how do I know that it's above 10% above? Like unless I go and if I see a ticket and I go, oh, I want that.
Yeah, and then you look up the particular category and the particular seat and the particular everything.
You wouldn't know. Like it's so hard. It's a math problem trying to understand when you're booking a ticket. I think there's a noise going on out there. I'm not sure what that is. It's from my perspective, it's a good way to address it. Is you attack the buyer.
Yep.
Well, I don't think it can hurt. It can only maybe even if it only slightly improves the situation, it's better than no improvement at all.
Yep. So it then moves on, I guess. So it's an algorithm that a ticket that is worth a certain amount of money, if more people want it, let's say a Harry Styles concert, the price goes up. Jazara, do you want to talk about this? Do you have a view on this?
I hate dynamic pricing of tickets. It is the bane of my existence. I think it's absolutely awful. It's essentially telling fans not to scalp while selling tickets that, like with the dynamic pricing, that looks exactly the same as scalping the tickets. And then it raises like an ethical question of, are fans being punished for demand while corporations profit off of scarcity?
Absolutely. I think it's why make, and I'm very critical that this isn't part of the legislation, but I also understand that it probably needs to be at a federal level. So you can't, if you're going to make this an offence, it has to be an offence Australia-wide, doesn't it?
And does it just stop at ticketing then, or does it extend to other things like Uber and?
Well, I for me it has to be. So does Uber have dynamic pricing?
I believe
Yes.
so. Yeah.
They have dynamic pricing as well. Yeah. I just think it would have to extend to all those. I think the legislation should cover that. So it'd be interesting. And I do note that the federal government is looking at bringing in those dynamic pricing laws. But there's also, so we've talked about the fact that there is, that 10%, you're not allowed to sell it for more than 10%. But there's also hidden fees.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's so expensive to go to a concert. Even if your tickets aren't already bleeding you dry, you've got to pay for transport, accommodation. A lot of venues have obviously like food and drink. That's all like the prices are hiked up to insane levels.
But are there hidden fees? Like if you want to...
when you're booking a flight, they've got fees like that too. I mean, I don't know if they're completely hidden, but it's like right at the end when you go to pay and you're like, oh, shit, I've got to pay another.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They do add on, when you buy the ticket, they add on prices to access your ticket. They have a handling fee as well.
Yeah.
And
which is dishonest.
You can pay extra as well to have a ticket that's refundable.
Do you think, when you log in, when tickets open, do you think they deliberately make it hard? Because you can wait hours and hours to try and get a ticket and you just won't get one. Do you think they
That's
just...
because the scalpers are buying whatever they can get their hands on.
Yeah, but how do they, if there's a 6 limit, how do they, there must be something.
They have, or they say that they've got bot protection software and whatnot, the issue with that is, as someone who tries to get the tickets, you're on the page and you're trying to get the tickets and it will mark you as a bot for waiting for so long or being too quick with your purchase. And then you get booted off the site.
Yeah, I hate their whole experience. And then they talk about market dominance. So Live Nation and Ticketmaster hold significant control over venues and ticket sales. So it's not just the platform for selling, they actually own the venues as well.
Yeah.
And so there is a real monopoly, which wouldn't happen in media. It wouldn't
No,
happen
you couldn't have it in other industries.
In other industries. So it shouldn't really happen here because it's really affecting the consumer.
And perhaps, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little bit pie in the sky here, but perhaps the artists could say, hey, I really care about my fans.
Yes.
I'm not going to be part of this.
But they have an
100%.
example of artists that sell out 3 or 4 concerts and they make less from that than they do at a local pub. And you just think, so it's not, I don't know if it's necessarily, I don't know if the artists are making more money.
Oh, no, I don't necessarily think that they're making more money, but maybe from a moral, ethical point of view with their fans, they could say, no, I'm not going to deal with companies who do that to my fans.
There are quite a few who have that belief and who have said that they would prefer to make less money off of their concerts because they already make a boatload of money off of their music and their streams, their merch. They already make music. They do the performances for the fans.
Yeah.
That's not for them. There's a lot of artists who say that.
Yeah. And I guess from that perspective, when you do talk about the average ticket cost, which isn't often guided by the performer, you're looking at anywhere an average of $334, but it starting price about $128. The actual cost has blown out significantly in the last couple of years. So how many? Give us an example, Jazara, of a couple of concerts that you've been to, and the prices that you've had to pay. You've just bought a Harry Styles ticket in Melbourne, and was it a great?
For example, I got a ticket I bought the ticket in 2022 for his last tour, and I bought a rear standing ticket, and that cost me, I think it was $120 for the ticket, $180 for the hidden fees. And I've bought the same ticket this time, and it cost me $480.
So what was that again?
$480 for the same ticket that I bought for $180 just, how many years ago is that? 4 years ago?
Yeah, that's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that I then have to pay for flights and accommodation, which have also gone up, and hotels will often hike their prices up for the dates that the shows are around.
And that's a significant price increase.
Very.
And that's what shows you when you have monopolies, when you have dynamic pricing. It's a real example. What are some of the fees you've paid for other concerts?
Well, I went to a concert in February last year. That was Billie Eilish. She's quite big as well. She's arguably as big as Harry Styles, some would say. And her ticket...
Would you say?
I would say that she is.
Yeah.
I'd say she has a different audience, though, as well.
Yeah.
But I bought her ticket just last year for $180. And I had front barrier.
Yeah. So there are examples where
artists do step in, because she has spoken out publicly about that. Whereas there have been as well other concerts that I've gone to where the prices have been closer to $200, $250. I bought a Travis Scott ticket for my brother, and that was $660.
How did you pay for that?
I don't think we talk about that.
Yeah, that's good. If my wife's listening, it wasn't me. You went to that. Your sons went to the Travis Scott concert.
Yes, they went to
as well.
that. I have no memory of how much they paid.
It's still etched in
It
my
wasn't
memory.
in the 600s because at that age, no, they were not affording that.
Yeah, that was a very expensive concert. Incredible. Both my sons went to that concert. Yeah, let's wipe that from our memory. But then if you look at it from a different point of view, we do have, which I think is a really interesting part of it, is that while we're talking about, having to go to Melbourne to watch Harry Styles, Tones and I comes out and she, Tones and I?
I know Tones.
Yeah, so she came out and she, in January, she said, okay, I'm going to let you in on my dilemma. Bundaberg, Coolum and Hervey Bay. Are really gunning for a show. Can you read that? Because my my eyes are
We need the young eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to let you in on my dilemma. Bundaberg, Coolum and Hervey Bay are all really gunning for a show. Coolum and Bundaberg are 3 hours apart. Hervey Bay is somewhere in the middle. I can't do 3 shows that close together, so my question to these 3 communities is there any place in between you would all be happy travelling to? Love you.
And she made a decision last week, was it?
I'm going to go with whatever you say. I have not been paying attention at all.
So she's made a decision, and she said basically that she's going to be going to Maryborough. And didn't it pick up a storm? I was reflecting on the fact that sometimes politicians make decisions and you think, I would never expected the community to be outraged. Yep. But I did notice that people were saying, here's some of the things that after she posted she was coming to Maryborough. This was one person said, I understand it's hard to please everyone, but it's over a 2-hour drive from Coolum to Maryborough, where it's only just over 1 hour from Bundaberg and only 25 minutes from Hervey Bay. Doesn't really feel like it's in the middle and not something a lot of us would travel to on a Sunday night. Wow. Where are you going again to see Harry Styles?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Melbourne.
A lot of people aren't used to living in the regions.
So what if she was playing in Brisbane?
Oh, I've driven my son to concerts in Brisbane pretty regularly. So
I think it's because she's put the option out there, the idea that she could play at somewhere else. Whereas if she had just gone, I'm playing in Brisbane, everyone would have gone, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
Or just got a personal assistant to find where the best place in the middle was, so didn't put it public.
Yeah. So what she's complaining about is that it's 2 hours from Coolum, but Brisbane's 2 hours from Coolum, so really it's no difference. Brisbane, Coolum. Whereas for some people in Hervey Bay, that's pretty exciting. We've got a concert coming up. Is it Red Hot Summer? Yeah. With Paul Kelly and Cat Empire. I love Cat Empire.
Be very exciting.
Missy Higgins, fantastic, and sing at the Seafront Oval. It's so great to be able to go to a concert where you're paying $160 and not having to pay for accommodation, travel.
Take days off work to get there. And
Yeah, I was debating whether to put it in there, but somebody commented, "Are you going to change? You're going to change the lyrics from Dance Monkey to Dance Junkie?"
Yeah.
I thought, that's pretty nasty.
I actually think they've started filtering some of the comments because I found some really nasty ones when she first put it up, and when I went back to have a look today, some of them were gone.
Yeah.
What's wrong with people?
I know, but I mean, and then you can imagine when things like, no wonder councillors and politicians are scared of going out into public because people just get cranky.
And also, how do you ever get the best people running, let's just say for politics or whatever, if they're like, well, why would I go and do that job and get treated like that when I can go into the private sector, get paid more, and I don't have to deal with that?
Exactly.
Yeah. There was one time when I posted on April Fool's Day, like April Fool's.
Oh, dear.
And it was a council meeting day. So I thought, so today we're meeting at council. We're talking about a range of issues. Item 1.4 on the agenda is renaming Maryborough to Hervey Bay South. I think this is good for tourism, and I'll be supporting the motion. Oh, my goodness. I got absolutely, it was so bad. And then at some point I said, please, it's April Fool's. And still they were angry. But the fact that you would consider it. I go, no.
I think I still get dirty looks in the street just for being associated to you.
Well, no wonder. Yeah, it was a Terrible. So you can imagine when...
Well, one of the first things we noticed when we moved to Hervey Bay, which was, I'm going to say 2015, the end of 2015, was it's very much a Springfield, Shelbyville type thing happening here with Hervey Bay, Maryborough.
Which one's Springfield? Hervey Bay.
I can't comment. I'm not. I haven't been here long enough.
Yeah.
I think you have to be born and bred here to be able to choose.
Yeah. Okay, so I did put it on... I was wondering whether or not this was some sort of conspiracy, like Donald Trump says, the election's rigged. Was other people from Coolum right? Was this a rigged election, or was this a rigged decision from Tones and I? Was there political interference? Did the mayor, who often sits here, have some sort of influence? I did ask one about other contributors.
Must be a reason he's not here today.
Well, that's...
He's avoiding it.
Have you noticed that Paul Truscott and George Seymour are not here today? They will not answer the hard questions. But do you think I would let Paul get away with it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
That's not in your nature.
So I asked him the question, and this is what he had to say.
It's a terrific boost for the region that Tones and I chose Maryborough Showgrounds as the venue for her upcoming show. She has a following of millions, and this will be a great light on our area from someone with that level of influence. I understand she grew up in a small town, so it's encouraging to see that she is doing shows in regional areas, perhaps her way of knowing and understanding what it's like in regions and not in the city, and her way of giving back. I'm not surprised that the show sold out in minutes. Good on her, and I welcome her to Maryborough.
How good is this for our region?
I think it's amazing for our region. It really puts us on the map.
It's amazing to have these types of things in our backyard.
For sure.
Did you manage to get there? I think they went on sale yesterday. They closed down the ticket sales, as I understand, when they reach 7,000, and they might reopen and open some more once they've done a better assessment
safety
assessment
audit
to make sure they can fit more in. And I think they could possibly go up to 10,000, but as I understand, 7,000 tickets sold. That's
from what
fantastic.
I understand, they capped it at 20% still left.
Yeah,
that
so
they're releasing later as well.
Yeah, so that would make it would, even if because I think capacity is 10,000. You reduce that by 1,000 because it's just a quick turnaround event, and then so you're probably looking at another 2,000 tickets, and I think they'll sell. Do you think you'll try and get a ticket? Do you like Tones and I?
I've seen her live. When I went to a concert for Pink, she opened for her. She's quite good, yeah.
Oh, bragging about Pink again. Hey,
it's a sore subject.
Yes, it is. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, I think it's fantastic for our community, and it's a really good outcome. And I'm sure that as I understand, the Fraser Coast Regional Council events team worked very hard to accommodate this when they knew there wasn't a lot of time. They had to make, some decisions. They have provided in-kind support, which I think is really awesome. And we're going to have an event that I think will be really, really good for the community.
I think so. And I'm maybe a bit biased here, but it's always nice to see a facility such as the Maryborough Showgrounds and Equestrian Centre being used for something like this, knowing that they're going to get a fair amount of money for it, which will go back into the facilities.
I was going to actually show a video of the Equestrian Centre with you riding in it, but I ran out of time. But if you can imagine you riding a horse, that was... So, yeah, it is an absolutely fantastic...
And they have camping.
I think they agreed to Maryborough because they don't have to drive far off the highway.
Yeah, and it's also a very safe venue. Like, it's a very easy venue for people to come and camp.
Yeah.
The facilities are already there, and I think the council would have been really open to support it, which is amazing.
And they've just recently redone all the camping facilities as well.
Yeah. So I am talking about... I worked really
camping?
hard. No, I'd worked really hard on this segue, so I'm pretty excited about this one. You ready for it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Talking about dance monkeys.
Let's see where this is going.
Barnaby Joyce has been questioned over his One Nation's decision to accept free travel from Gina Rinehart. Now, I'm going to try and play this, and hopefully it'll come through. Let's have a listen and see what Barnaby has to say.
With the Qantas saga with Albanese, a lot of people were critical of him for his close relationship with Alan Joyce. Gina Rinehart has been flying yourself and Pauline around. Is that above board? Should we be concerned that there's a quid pro quo?
I'm so happy you brought that up. Would you prefer the taxpayer fly us around? Would you prefer to have paid the bill? So you have a private individual says, don't put the bill on the Australian taxpayer, I'll fly you to Mount Isa, okay? Now, I don't know how that is somehow, what's nefarious about that.
So, what's your first impressions on that?
Oh, please.
I take it you have an opinion.
Oh, I do, of course. What is Gina going to be flying people around, or any billionaire or whoever going to be flying people around if they're not getting something in return at some stage? Come on.
Yep. So just to be clear, Barnaby Joyce and Pauline Hanson used Gina Rinehart's private jet to travel around flood-affected areas in Queensland communities in January 2026. It's connected to her mining company. They flew to meet local mayors to view damage, but also prior to that, there was also other times where he was accepting, accepting gifts or travel to the value of $40,000 from Gina Rinehart at a gala event, which again drew a lot of criticism.
Yeah, he received some award. Yeah.
Yeah, so he got financial value, not travel. So I guess I also wouldn't want the taxpayer to pay for his gifts either. I mean, is that the same argument that he's making, that Gina Rinehart, out of the goodness of her soul, is providing these as a servant to the community, is supporting Barnaby and Pauline Hanson. And to be clear,
flying Pauline Hanson to Florida, she's doing it out of the kindness of her heart,
and putting her up in really high class accommodation, because that's so the question I have is that comment where he says, would you prefer the taxpayer flies around?
Yes, I would.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course I would. I would prefer that over. I'd prefer a debt to the taxpayer in dollars rather than a debt to a billionaire who wants to pull
curry favour
resource out of the ground and get benefit. So to me, and I want to go through why, because I've had a lot to think about this, because that is such a patronising comment, the way he said it. I'm glad you asked. What would you prefer? The taxpayer pay for it. The hubris and arrogance of that really annoys me, because people, conservatives, progressives, people in the middle would see that and they'd be concerned.
I think it would still play to his base.
I don't think so. Let's do that. If Anthony Albanese did it, would that be okay?
I wouldn't like anyone. I don't particularly like anyone doing it.
No, I'm saying would Joyce's base be okay?
Oh,
yeah.
No, that would be different.
No, so the fact that people have raised this as a concern, his response should be contrite. It should be, look, I understand that some people might see this as being a little bit not transparent, but when I reviewed it, when I looked at it, I believe that it was the right thing to do. I'm not uncomfortable with it now, but I can understand if people are different. That's completely different to being arrogant. When you watch that, what do you think, Jazara?
I think that his response was very arrogant, and I think he reframed an ethics issue as a budget issue, which dodges the real concern, which is, when politicians reduce ethical concerns to accounting choices, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And he's trying to normalise closeness between politicians and wealthy donors, which, as we all know, is very dangerous. It's not a good mix.
So he's basically giving a false choice, isn't he? He's trying to cage that, basically saying, well, either you've got to pay for it. Well, there's other options. But there's other options there. You could go commercial. Like I agree that the taxpayer shouldn't pay for a private jet. I don't think that's...
Fly like the rest of us.
Yeah.
I can understand politicians, business people not flying economy, because I want them to be fresh when they get there and be able to do their job. I want them to be able to do their paperwork when they're on the plane. I want them to be able to do that. So I can understand that. I don't have a qualm with that. but
And
private
I also,
jets, no.
Well, I don't even necessarily have an issue with the Premier or the Prime Minister using a chartered flight to go and do their visitations of a very large country.
That's a bit different.
Yeah, because they might be in Charterstown one day
Yeah.
and Thargomindah the next day, and then Western Australia. You can't just get.
I don't think any old MP should be all
No.
doing a Bronwyn Bishop.
No, and it's also the fact that it wasn't transparent. Like, it wasn't until people noticed. They didn't declare it.
Yeah.
The transparency is terrible.
See, we could do a whole episode on this at another stage, but I feel the same way about election spending. I think the taxpayer should pay. It should be a capped amount for everybody.
Yeah. And
It's like F1.
Yeah, why do you say that? Yeah, F1 has caps, don't they? Yeah.
Because people who are wealthy can affect the outcome of elections because capping it and having it as a public spend, although yes, it does cost the taxpayer, it's probably going to cost them less in favours that all of these politicians do for their donors. Decisions they make that affect their donors, the Australian taxpayer would probably come out ahead if they footed the bill for election spending.
So you support the bill that the current Queensland state government is putting out, that it's now no longer illegal for developers to pay contributions to state members running so political donations to state politics. You're a fan of that?
No, I'm not a fan of donations from corporations, etc., to any political party. I don't care what persuasion, what side you're on, because at the end of the day, you're currying favour. They're not doing it because for any other reason, then they're going to get a pat in the back later. You're going to potentially vote a certain way or make a decision. Like, look at the gambling reforms. Like, how long has that taken to get to the point where it is, and it still hasn't been resolved to what the majority of the public would like to see? It's because they're such big players. They're such big donors.
I think the problem as well isn't public money being spent, it's public decisions being made in private.
That's the thing, isn't it? And here's my issue as well. So, Jazara, let's say, for example, you now know that Gina Rinehart is one of the most powerful political figures. She's a mining magnate and one of the wealthiest people in Australia, if not the wealthiest. No, Forrest is it, and then Gina Rinehart.
If you ask Clive Palmer, he's the fifth. Right?
He's the fifth. Yeah, he did. That was a pretty good comment that came out today. What do you call it? Liberal Party? They're all idiots, or
no? I think it's something a mob of wankers.
A mob of wankers.
Something along those lines.
Because he was a former member of the Liberal Party, so there's one less wanker in the party, I suppose. So here's Gina Rinehart, very wealthy, has a real strong interest in mining, wants to reduce the amount of royalties that are paid from mines back to the taxpayer, which would be a significant. If she could reduce that, her companies would make more money. The taxpayer would make less. When a decision about that is brought before our government and Barnaby Joyce is one of the decision makers, do you trust him to make a decision for the taxpayer
Absolutely
or for Gina?
Not. He is making it for Gina.
Yeah, because you got to
pay up.
Pay the piper.
Favors aren't free.
Yeah. But you don't reckon he'll get any political fallback from this, from his base, One Nation, who's
not from his base, but maybe from people who they're hoping to win over, because obviously they've seen a bit of a rise in their in the polls in their support. So, there's potential that some of those people might go, you know what, no, they're not the place for me. But I don't think it'll be with his base. No.
Yeah. Yeah. From my perspective, I think this lacks credibility. I think it lacks accountability. I think it lacks integrity. It lacks
it's their MO
so
though.
much. Yeah, and the condescending nature of Barnaby Joyce to speak with such vitriol and almost like he's talking. The people that are concerned about this are beneath him. Like, why am I even bothering?
And they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you're rubbing shoulders with Gina Rinehart.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like he has to fly in a plane with these, commoners like me and you and you.
That's true.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm...
He doesn't have to buy plane tickets to go and see Harry Styles.
Oh, exactly right.
He's just calling up jeans.
Yeah. So the only Barnaby I really like is Johnny Depp's dog, who was named after Barnaby Joyce. Do you know this story?
I named a rat after Barnaby Joyce.
The only
recently.
Barnaby I know is Barnaby the dinosaur or dragon, whatever he is. He's purple and green.
Yeah, so...
We've got off topic
Yeah,
here.
No.
threw you off a bit there. Apologies.
Whose dog was named Barnaby? It was
I named a rat Barnaby, not a dog.
no. Who did I just say named their dog Barnaby?
I got distracted by the Barnaby dinosaur.
Now I've forgotten too. So I think that this is just poor form, and for the life of me, I can't even remember who I was talking about before, but that's okay. We have reached the end of our podcast. We've talked about all the topics. Jazara, how was your second experience, and who gives a vote?
It's quite nice to know that we were live. I think that's helped a little bit.
Yeah, I think that helped heaps.
Didn't accidentally ask you to cut anything out this time.
I remember it now. Johnny Depp. That's who I said.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Depp.
So Johnny Depp came
Pistol
to
and
us.
Boo
Yeah.
were his dogs.
So didn't he call the dog Barnaby afterwards?
Oh, they might have changed its name by deed
or
poll
maybe
or
he
something.
was joking, but he came to Australia.
Oh, they might have just got a third dog.
And then his dog got impounded, and Barnaby Joyce was like really, really aggressive and angry towards thing, and they seized the dog. Is that right? And they had to fight to get the dog back. I think it was going to be destroyed, and Barnaby was just going to get stuffed. And they had a big stoush with Johnny Depp, and it didn't go around the.
Barnaby likes being in the news. Let's
he
be honest.
enjoyed it. So so going back to that, I back Johnny Depp. I'm on Johnny Depp's side in this case.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that they should have brought the dogs.
But
Can't
Like they
argue
did-
with the Captain Jack Sparrow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should have bought the dogs, but I'm not on Barnaby's side either.
well, you're probably right, but they did. It's less of an infraction than jumping on Gina Rinehart's private jet, in my view.
Probably.
Yeah.
But their whole shtick is, we're standing up for the battlers and blah blah blah, and like, come on,
Yeah, that's right.
spare me.
Yeah. What battlers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've enjoyed the topics this week?
It has been a mixed bag today, I must say.
Yeah. So I think, like we said, Dance Monkey. People will be enjoying the dulcet tones of Dance Monkey and Tones and I, she's from Australia, isn't she?
She is.
She's from Byron Bay.
Byron Bay. So she's doing really well, and I think it's fantastic. It's good to have such support for locals. I do note that it was at Coolum. They couldn't sell out their event last time, so maybe that's why she decided not to go down to the sunny coast.
It's a fair
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I think
supply and demand.
I think on the sunny coast they had to cancel an event. So yeah, I mean, obviously, Maryborough's been an example of the fact that hey,
you can come out to the regions and sell a few tickets.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and we look forward to catching up with you guys next week. And Jazara, do you reckon you'll come back?
I'll have to check my schedule.
It's a very busy schedule.
Sort your sock drawer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, thanks for that. And we'll see you next week.